Yeah, I only read halfway through. I'm like,
Hey,
oh,
you're not alone.
I'm the one hosting this, and I only read half of it. But
I'm
it's
only on page 15, so.
you what?
I'm on page 15.
Oh, okay. I don't feel so bad. No, but I just realized like I just do so much better with audiobooks. Like I read so much faster with audiobooks. So I was like, oh, this is like taking me forever. Anyway, I probably need another month to finish it.
It happens.
Yeah, it does. So yeah, Sarah, did you read the whole thing?
I got 63% done.
63%.
63%.
How many like what page did you end on?
I don't know. It's on like Kindle, so I just have like a little percentage.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. I know, and I even downloaded it onto my iPhone, but I just do better with audio. It's like I'm a multitasker, so I love to like read and cook or read and drive, read and So I swear the only time I read like legit books is when I'm traveling in a car or on a plane. And I'm forced to sit down. Yay, there's Megan.
I'm here.
Let me do a gallery view so we can all see each other. Okay. And I know a couple more people are gonna hop on. But yeah. So I guess we'll just get started. But this is fun. This is my very first online book club. I'm kind of excited / a little bit nervous. Hey, Stephanie.
Hey.
And Stephanie, you said, we were all joking. I don't think any of us read the whole thing.
Well, I only read 50 pages, so I'm probably the most far behind.
No, you're not. Shireen only read 15.
Okay.
So you're good.
Cool. I don't know how long I'll be here because my husband's in Brazil, so I have Cone with me.
Yeah, so who knows how long he'll last.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just get started. So I did love what I read though. Like overall, did you guys love this book?
Yeah, so far so good. I absolutely love it. I have a bunch highlighted.
Yeah, I think it is like in my top 10 for sure. Nicole, did you read it?
Yes, I think it's so good. I want to read it again.
Did you read the whole thing?
I'm on I still have 2 chapters left.
Oh, then you
the
win.
resources page in the back.
Unless you read
I win?
Yeah. Megan, did you read it all?
Almost.
Oh,
I'm on page 212.
Oh, good job.
But there's still 2 more chapters, I think.
Yeah, I even thought, I'm like, I could even I haven't read the whole thing, but I think it's clean enough that I would let my daughter read it too, because I feel like it was kind of for all.
Yeah, it is clean.
So, okay, why don't we all take turns sharing our, one of your favorite takeaways? Does anyone want to start?
I will.
Or you can even just share little nuggets, and then I'm sure it'll make you remember other nuggets. So we'll just start sharing little nuggets that you loved. Okay, Megan, go for it.
Okay, I'm having to scroll back through my book club page to look at all it. Okay, when she talks about stop making excuses, the quote that I took away from it says, making excuses instead of putting yourself and your dreams first only leads to a life of mediocrity and regret. I was like, well, way to just have your little V8 moment there. And so I remember posting about that in my group, and everybody else agreed with me. Holy moly, yes. And I posted that in Team Chic too. I don't know if you guys remember that. I was like, reality check for the day. There you go. So that was one nugget. And then do you guys remember seeing the quote from Albert Einstein that says, the woman who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd? The woman who walks alone is likely to find herself in a place no one has ever been.
Ooh, I did not.
There you go.
That's
And
cool.
then
I really like
last one for me. I'll stop talking after this one. Really
No,
good.
I like it when you talk, especially your cute accent.
The discussion on resilience blew me away. She says, I learned that resilience isn't pretending you're not upset, hurt, or disappointed. It is finding the courage to choose a positive attitude in spite of whatever storm you're experiencing. If it's deciding you're going to focus on the pain and the hurt, or cling to your faith that at some point the sun will come out again. True resilience is when the worst storm of your life rears its ugly head, and rather than lay there defeated, you hunker down, dig your heels as deep as they can go, suck it up, and withstand wave after wave until you see the rainbow. And then she goes on to talk about, more on resilience, because it's like a whole section on that. But that was my favorite part, was the section on resilience.
That's cool.
I want to be resilient.
I liked how visual she was. Like, I love that she kind of made it sound like you're standing in the waves and you're digging your heels in and the waves are coming and you're waiting for the sunshine to come. Like, I loved her little visuals or like descriptions that made you visualize something. Like, I think there was a part where she said she was talking about filling up your tank and you can't drive on an empty tank. And it was such a like simple description, but I was like, yeah, duh. Like, you just can't go very far on an empty tank. So I like those like little analogies, like you were saying.
And considering how many different occupations and things that she has done, there are a few women I feel that can't connect with her. You know what I mean? Because she's been on a TV show. She's been a survivor. She has worked for, the Sports Center or whatever. And she's got a nonprofit. It's like, how can you not connect with this woman? But then at the same time, I'm sort of her thinking, how has she done all of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old is she? I don't know. She looks young on the cover. She looks like 30-ish.
Yeah.
That's my guess. I want to say it told, but now I'm not sure.
Okay, anyone else have like favorite nuggets they want to share?
Mine's like super quick, really, because it was one thing that I highlighted, but it was overall the takeaway from like every single chapter. I am enough. And it was in the That Girl manifesto right towards the beginning. But that one little sentence right there, I am enough, period. I don't have to be something or someone different. I don't know. It kind of stuck with me. But
I
I
agree.
had a couple other things like highlighted, but that was like the one that was just like, that's so true. Number one.
Right, because I feel like in this generation we have to be more. And it's like, no. I really liked the part that she talks about, like,
Oh, there we go.
just accepting your weaknesses. And she said you're perfectly imperfect,
Yeah, absolutely.
How, that kind of goes with the you are enough. Like, you're enough just the way you are. You don't have to try to be like this perfect human, that's kind of impossible.
There's no such thing.
Right. Anyone else?
So I'm in chapter 1, but I liked what she gave the example of someone who said she realized that what she was passionate about was creating. She tried all these different things and was feeling bad that she didn't just do one thing really well. And she realized that all those things had in common was the fact that she liked creating things. And once she realized that, she was like, oh, that's my thing. That's my passion, is to be creative. And I don't have to finish everything. I don't have to excel at everything, but I just need to be creative. So.
Yeah, I like that too, because I've always been really random. I mean, I've always changed my mind a lot. So I was like, oh, it doesn't have to like fit with this perfect theme. Yeah, I was just like, oh, I like to create.
It doesn't have to define you. You don't have to like have a title like,
yeah,
I'm an author or whatever. Like it can just be like, I'm a creative person and I like to do a lot of things. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of like made me think about the purpose-driven life, where you have to figure out what your purpose is in life, and you're not supposed to define yourself by your job title. So I think, that's hard. That is hard. When I first read that book and we had a group on or whatever and was asked to define what my purpose in life was, I was like, I don't know. Be a mom, I don't know. When you remove the worldly title, I'm a photographer, or I'm a fitness coach, or I'm a writer. When you remove all that, it's like what's left, and so that's deep for me anyway, to try and look at that. And then like when Sarah was saying I am enough, really, most women can't sit there and say that. They're so insecure. And so that those 3 words, she said that was her only little nugget. That is a huge nugget. Like to grasp it and then to go on and believe it. That's, I struggle with that. I assume other people do too.
Yeah. And every day I still do, and I'm a homeschooling mom on top of a photographer, trying to make that work, and, trying to work out, trying to do all these things. And it's my new mantra now. I have to stop and be like, I'm enough. It's okay. Like, don't have a breakdown, And her bit about anxiety too was like on point. And I shared this in the group just the other day about how it's paralyzing, and the woman's year of yes. And I'm like, I should probably do that and just say yes more. And I don't know. But yeah, it was those little words, but it was super powerful that everybody, you are enough. You don't have to be super Pinterest mom or like top-notch photographer, although I try to be, like, all those things that.
Yeah. And I liked this part that says, and it wasn't even her, it was Emily Green. It was the co-founder of I Am That Girl, Emily Greener. She said, I am fed up and eliminating the word should from my vocabulary. And I was like, oh, I like that idea, because I think that's where us women especially, we feel like so much pressure, like, oh, I should do this and I should do that and I should, I should clean the house perfect and I should do all these things. And then we just feel like guilt, pressure, and anxiety, and and it's like, no, like just do what's important now. And so I was like, I've been catching myself say that word this week. It's been interesting. And then another one, sorry, what?
No, I love that. Because I think I do that all the time. I should do that. I didn't do that today, but I should. Sometimes it's like, no, what do you want to do? What can you really do?
Yeah. What's more important? Like today, honestly, I was just in a weird funk, and I was like, oh my gosh, my house is so dirty, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? Right now, I need to really nurture myself. I love that phrase. She said, nurture yourself. And I was like, I just need a nap. I just know that's what I need to do more than anything else. So I did, and I felt so much better after a nap. It was awesome. So I'm like, I'm glad that I just because I knew that if I didn't nurture myself, then I would just be kind of a dysfunctional, I think. And so once I did that, I was like, oh, I'm good. World's a better place after a nap.
True.
I also loved the other part where she said she made her list of top 10 things that make her happy, which a lot of these things I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been saying for years. Like, I love this. But one of them was to be a day maker. And I was like, oh, I love this so much. And so I've been trying to think of little ways that I can like, because I think it's easy to get sort of caught up in your own life, in your own world. And I think that's a recipe for unhappiness if all you think about is yourself. So if you think about like, okay, what could I do to like really make someone's day? And it makes you like think of others and really be thoughtful of like other people that, be aware of other people around you that might need help or just something you could do to cheer them up or make their day. So I've been trying to do like little things like that to make someone's day. And it's fun. It's really fun.
Love that. So there was a part that I loved because I think it's a good way to talk to like our fitness clients and potential challengers. And it said, nobody wants to be responsible for your happiness. And at first I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of like, I don't know, kind of rude. But if you think about it, like if you have to be responsible for your husband having a good day or being happy or your kids being happy, like it puts so much stress and pressure on you. So it's true. No one wants to be responsible for your happiness and no one can do it as well as you. So she's talking about you need to like find a recipe for taking care of yourself. And that's one thing I tell my challengers a lot is, you have to take care of yourself first so that you can take care of those around you. So she went on to say that it's in everyone's best interest that you love yourself enough, because when we are healthy, happy, vibrant, fit, complete, then and only then do we have everything to offer those around us. So I love that. I mean, it talks about why we should be doing the 3 vital behaviors, why we have to, work out and do all those things first, because like nobody else is responsible for your happiness. No one can make you happy. And once you take care of yourself, then you can give everything to those around you. And then the other one that was really good was, you alone are the judge of your worth, and your goal is to discover infinite worth in yourself, no matter what anybody else thinks. So I don't know, it was kind of a reminder to me that you kind of have to put your blinders on sometimes and not look at the things that other people are doing on social media. Take care of yourself, and then, I think you do find your own self-worth when you're taking care of yourself, and then kind of put on your blinders and not worry about what anybody else thinks. So I love that.
Yeah. Amen. That's hard to do. Comparison.
It is.
Keep a joy, but so many is so hard to do. To not be like, oh, she's prettier than me. She's smarter.
She's doing so many cool things.
Right. And everyone does it. I think one way that helps, I think if you try to be happy for them, it makes it a little easier. Like I've had, like I remember that I had a friend who did something in photography, and I was like, oh, that was such a good idea. I should why didn't I think of that? And she's like rocking it and da-da-da. And then I was like, okay, I just need to congratulate her. Like I just need to, and it's funny how when you congratulate someone, you sort of it lifts that jealousy, those weird feelings off. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know why, but I think anytime you're like, oh my gosh, good for you, or congratulations, it just yay, you're being happy for them, and it makes it a little easier.
It makes you happy too. Yeah, it does.
Yeah. What else?
A couple years ago, and this isn't from the book, but just going on with comparison.
Uh-huh.
And I try to remember this when I'm feeling that. Someone's got a little cutie. The only person you should compare yourself to is the one you used to be. And that can go with the fitness people. You look back at your beginning pictures, everyone takes a day one picture so they can compare it. But even for photographers, if you look back at your very first photo shoot with a paid client versus your most recent one, you're like, wow, I have grown so much. And you can be proud of yourself in that moment. instead of looking at what that other person has. You can look at what, you know, you have done. And that's definitely helped me kind of get rid of that envy a little bit. But yeah, when you used to be, and that's it for comparison.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is she mentioned, and I don't know, this is when I was reading it on my phone, and so I might have, I don't know, kind of missed it, but she talked about making your own like constitution, or she casually mentions that she has one. Do you guys remember that part? It's at the beginning.
Yeah, it's right at the beginning.
And I was like, I want to do this. I'm like, how do I don't feel like she touched on it deep enough. Like I really wanted to like make my own constitution so that I can like just kind of use that as my base for a lot of my decisions, you know? But anyway, I'm just curious if you guys noticed that part and if any of you tried it or what your thoughts were.
Is it the same section where she kind of has an affirmations page, and you can like read all? She says you can create your own, or you can like read all of these affirmations daily. Is it that same part?
I think because she lists some of hers, I thought, and I'm trying to find it. I can't really find it anymore. But it was the manifesto.
Yeah, it's the manifesto. I love that. That girl manifesto.
Which is on
right at the beginning, right before page 1.
And but I swear she talks about a constitution, but maybe not. But I was like, I love the idea of making sort of like, this is who I like, kind of like your philosophies and what you believe and what you want to become, and you know what I mean? In her manifesto, I liked that she did that, and I was like, I want to do that for myself. Like, I want to say that this is, you know, how she says, I feed my body good whole foods, but I don't punish myself for the occasional indulgence. So it's like almost like this is what I do. So anytime she maybe starts to feel guilty for eating a donut, she's like, no, you know what? No, part of my manifesto is that I don't do that. So I was like, oh, I really want to make my own, like, whatever you want to call it, constitution, manifesto. I just liked that idea, but she doesn't elaborate much on it.
Yeah, I love that. I also like, it's towards the middle of the book on page 114. She has a whole section. It's like in the section that's called Be Unpopular. And she like has a whole dialogue on what do I say when a friend is unsupportive. And I think you get that a lot as any kind of entrepreneur. Like, family just doesn't get what you're doing, or maybe that somebody's jealous or, you know, insecure. I think when you put yourself out there, you get a lot of people that are unsupportive. So I love this whole section on like what to say if a friend is unsupportive. So that's a good one to kind of skip to and highlight if you feel like you need help in that area, or if you have a friend or family member that is unsupportive right now. Like, I love that section.
I have to go back and reread it because I have a couple people who we were really supportive of each other like a year ago. And then as our paths kind of changed, that kind of stopped. And one of them recently, I was so excited. I was like, I just booked a mentoring weekend with a really huge photographer that I followed forever. It's in New York City. I'm so excited. She's like, I don't like that photographer. I want to say, like, I don't care if you like her or not. I'm excited.
Thanks for being happy for me. Yeah.
Like, I just paid all this money to go see somebody I have, you know, really looked up to for years. Like, I don't care if you like her work. Just smile and be like, yes, good for you.
Right.
So I think I skimmed over that.
Yeah,
and
good
I
for
need to
you,
look
girl.
back at
Oh,
it.
that sucks. Yeah.
It happens.
Well, and then consequently, it talks about like who is the wind in your sails. Like, it talks about who are the people that lift you up, which is why we're today. Like, we're supposed to spend time with and hang out with the people that are the wind in ourselves and lift us up. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and
Just like our team.
it seems like, unfortunately, there are sometimes seasons. Some people will be the wind in your sail for seasons.
Yeah.
And like, as I switched industries from photography to fitness, I lost a lot of my cheerleaders, and friends even, because I switched industries, which I don't think that's how it should be. But unfortunately, it was like, okay, I guess we were friends for that season,
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, oh well, I'm learning to accept it.
It's like that when you transition from being single to being married and from
That's true.
having kids too. Because
It
now that
is.
we've got kids, yeah, it's dwindled big time.
Right.
So it's like, right now it's my church family is my rock when it comes to helping with, needs and stuff like that. And then friendships for the kids, because mine aren't in school yet. Friendships for the kids are coming from those at church. And it's like, where'd my friends go?
Yeah. I do like how she has scripts in here, because I think, didn't she have ones for saying no too?
Yeah.
Which I think women really struggle with.
I'm hearing the Super Y theme song in the background. I love it. Someone's watching Super Y.
That's awesome. I know. I don't know.
Yeah, she has quite a few scripts all throughout that I love. So, and then towards the end, in chapter 8, it's the of service chapter, and this is probably one of my. I'm with you guys on I love the I am enough, but this is the other part that I just loved. And she says, to be that girl means being the best version of you, perfectly and wonderfully flawed. And I think that's just such a huge thing to remember, is just be the best version of you, flaws and all. So, yeah.
That's right. And there was a part where she said that when you accept your weaknesses and sort of let go of that perfect, I do think it's really, really freeing when you just are you know what? When you're just real and vulnerable, I think it's it's scary, but it's also kind of freeing when you're this is who I am, take it or leave it,
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier to be that way the older you get too. As the old woman here.
You start to learn, yeah.
It's well, does it really matter what they think of me? No, it doesn't, because this is who I am. So.
Right. So true.
I love you, Shireen. You bring such wisdom.
I agree. What else? Any other, what were some of your favorite nuggets, Alex?
My favorite so far, I'm only on chapter 4, so, but I really like the Suffer for 15 Minutes.
Oh yeah.
For me, and it's talked about, she talks a lot about, Gretchen Rubin, who's the author of Happiness Project, and just the whole idea of no matter really what you're doing, you can take 15 minutes out of your whole entire day and just do it. So just overall, just throughout everything in life, that I feel that's just a really good mantra.
I agree.
Yeah, it's actually my day designer now with cleaning. It's my clean 15. Every day I write down clean 15 in my top 3.
Oh, that's smart. I like that line.
Yeah.
I should do that.
You said should.
Oh, crap. You're right. Busted. Okay, what else? Is that Clarissa?
Yes.
Did you get a
Yeah.
chance to read it?
No, I haven't started reading any of it at all.
That's okay. You just joined our team, so that's okay.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I should read anything or not. I was like, I don't know how long you guys are reading this book for. So.
I know. It is a really good book, so eventually.
Yeah, it's good enough for you to get and read. It's good.
Okay. I'll have to look into it, download it.
I'm so annoyed it's not on audio. I'm like, why
I
can't
know,
you take every book on audio?
except this one.
Every book.
I wanted it on Audible too. It's
Yeah.
just so hard to sit down and read, you know? I
Yep.
mean, I should do it more, but it's hard.
Should.
Should.
You said should. Oh, that's so funny.
I say that a lot.
I know. Let's see. What else, you guys? I'm looking through at like my notes here of all the stuff
It's so good that I have like something highlighted in every single
I
paragraph.
know. I have so many, I've got so many dog ears and highlights.
Yeah, that's why I feel like I have to totally like just once I get to the end, I have to go back and read it again because it's that good.
You know, I loved this little part where it was not her that wrote it. It was Gina Rudin on page 40 who talked about time management, how it's a hoax or whatever. She said you don't manage time, you spend it.
Yes, I love that.
And then she said, think of managing time by focusing on output. Like she said that, let's see, on vacation mode, we're usually in input mode, meaning we're like nurturing ourselves, right? And then at home, we're in output mode. Like we are going, doing stuff all the time. And she just said, like, feed your genius first. And she said, and then I really liked the idea of just, and this is something I try to do, but it doesn't always happen, of like taking care of you first, you know, taking care of your needs and everything first. She means, and she also says, like, don't answer dumb emails till after 3. Like, she basically is saying, like, be in input mode first, where you're nurturing yourself first. And then later on in your day is when you can be in output mode and doing that stuff, those other things. So she said you will be profoundly more productive and the quality of your work will improve when you do it that way. So yeah, basically, like, beginning of the day is you. And then once you've kind of got your like essentials in, then you can like, because I feel like the first thing we tend to do is like check email, check Facebook, check, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people do this, and with time management especially, is they go into response mode rather than like they're reactive instead of proactive. So like the minute you wake up, they're like responding to emails, responding to message, notifications, blah, blah, blah. Instead of like, well, here's my to-do list. These are my absolute essentials. And then I can go respond to everyone else. Because then when you're doing that, when you're in responding mode, I feel like you just feel less, I think you just feel a little bit less fulfilled and sort of empty because you are on empty at that point.
You burn out sooner too.
Yeah.
So instead of like reading in the morning, writing in your journal, whatever it is you need to do, like get your workout in, do yoga, instead of doing that first, so that like you have like the energy and everything you need to like get through the day and do your work and do your responding and stuff. It's like, I just know when if I wake up and I do that, like you said, response mode first thing, I hit noon and I'm like done. I'm like ready to check out for the day. Like I'm done with all of this. So yeah, the productivity is not good if we do it backwards like that,
Yeah. Although it's so hard because, I mean, especially with kids, they are your alarm clock sometimes. Yep. And they are, instantly demanding stuff. But then I just feel like it's always...
that's where I am right now. Like Well, that's where I am right now, trying to switch my schedule around because that's what I do first thing in the morning is work because my kids are asleep. And I'm trying to force myself to go back to, because I used to wake up and I would do everything but work, like read, yoga, exercise, all that stuff, everything but work. And then I would do work later in the day. And I can tell you, I was such a happier person. I was a better mom. And then I kind of like flipped a switch and worked in the morning. And yeah, it's not good. So now I have to like switch it all around again. But it's super hard. It's hard to change.
Yeah, I know. I think that I said I do it the way I wake up, or if I wake up early, it's to work, not to like nurture myself. Maybe you could do like 5 a.m., 1 hour for you, and then 6 a.m., 1 hour for you, and then your kids wake up at 7 in a perfect
way. Yeah. Hopefully they don't wake up till 7.
Yeah.
So super random side note, but I read a really cool blog called The Blissful Mind. And I can't remember the author's name, but she basically created this power sheet. And she breaks up into like 20-minute segments. And so it's like you wake up 1 hour earlier than you usually would. And it's like body, mind, and soul. So she would like exercise for 20 minutes and then read for 20 minutes, then do like, I can't remember what her other one was. I think like a devotion for 20 minutes. So I definitely check that out. It's pretty cool.
That's
cool.
Because
body, mind, and soul.
She talks about that in here. She said, I'm trying to remember, her morning routine was like she does a journal.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that.
She said paying yourself first. I loved this idea because I think it's so smart with money and with time. Like she says, paying yourself first, basically meaning taking care of yourself first, and then like what we're saying. But yeah, I swear I remember her saying she wrote in a journal first thing in the morning, and I don't remember what else. I mean, I know she talks a lot about
her workout in.
Yeah, she talks about exercise. I always think it's so funny that every book about happiness and talks about exercise. Almost all of them. Do you guys remember if she had anything else in her morning routine? Anyway.
I'm pretty sure it is all like personal development type stuff. Like none of it is work.
Yeah.
I could say like, just like being new to the team and everything, I was so excited to learn like all this stuff, and like get in there and like I started focusing on all of that first thing as soon as I woke up. But then I was like, wait a minute, I can't do this because it's like it was making my whole day like off balance. And now I've been trying to work on that personal development and being with my kids earlier in the day. And then later in the afternoon was when I start to post more and do all the stuff that I want to do, so it's definitely, I feel a lot better and more confident that I can do things and get more things accomplished in that way.
Yeah, I just found her routine. It's on page 52. She says, let's see, over the years, I've found that focusing on being selfish in 4 main areas helps me stay focused on my needs and fueled and inspired in the rest of my life. So it was number 1, morning journaling or meditating. Number 2, hitting the gym or another form of exercise. Number 3, eating healthy meals. And number 4, making time for the most meaningful people in my life. So, and
I loved how she also told you how to meditate. Like for people who've never done it before and for like just sitting down, like she was saying, you sit down and you try to do it and you've got 50 million other things running through your head that you need to be doing, and that's me. Like, oh, I need to go do this, and then it's like I need a notepad beside me so I can write stuff down. But she says that you eventually get to the point where your mind clears. And I guess I've just never gotten to that point. But I loved how she actually went through that description for you. I mean, it was like you said earlier, she's very visual.
Yeah.
Her descriptions. So I love that she took the time to describe how to meditate.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember where that was.
I was watching. It's probably in that same section that you're at somewhere.
Yeah.
I was watching a guided one, and he kind of talked about that. It was a monk, actually. And when your mind wanders, you just kind of let it happen. But then you focus back on your breath and you repeat like sitting, or breathing, just to bring you back to like just being centered. So instead of being like, oh man, I'm off thinking, so I'm not meditating, and then you're like, off about that, you just bring it back to center and keep focusing on your breath. And if you have to like repeat a word over and over again, that seems to help a little bit too with beginner meditation.
Oh yeah, she said page, I think it's on 63. She talks about, but I also like that if you're not into meditating, she said that journaling can be a form of meditation. She says she starts each day by checking in with herself. It's probably good to start your journal in the morning because my journal, I usually don't journal unless I'm really ticked off at life. So my journal's like, it's like an anger journal. And so I should do it in the morning when I'm like a lot happier. I'm not tired and grumpy.
My morning routine is tough because my son wakes up between 5 and 6 a.m.
Oh,
and
that is tough.
I used to be like 4, and I'm not a morning person.
Ugh.
So I'm like drinking my coffee, like, oh my God, it's so early. Like I can't even. And there was one day he slept until like 6:30, and I was up at 5:30. So I journaled, and I was looking up like dream meanings and having a grand old time, worked out, and I'm like, wow, he's still sleeping, and I feel awesome. And the next day he was up at 5, and I'm like, well, there goes my self-time.
How old is
he's 4. So he's full of energy first thing in the morning, like, good morning, it's time for breakfast. And I'm like, oh my God, I need like half hour at least. It's just something.
I wonder if you could be like, hey, it's still quiet time, and like give him a timer with the like ticks.
I don't know if you're my husband chuckling.
He's all, no, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, we're trying the whole quiet time thing because he's also getting rid of nap time, which is like a nice sanctuary.
Yeah.
So we're trying quiet time, but that doesn't always work. He always has really cool, exciting things to tell you all about all the time. Which we're proud of, but it's exhausting sometimes.
Well, hopefully he goes to bed early then, right?
Like 8 generally. 8 o'clock normally. Some nights a little bit earlier, but
I'm jealous. I'm doing good if mine are in bed at 10:30, and then they're up at like 7:30, and it's like, really, y'all should be sleeping longer than this. Yeah. My mom was very diligent in making me go to bed when the sun went down. You need to be in the bed.
Look.
Yeah.
Hey, I thought of something else, Kelly.
What's that?
Before, when we were talking about how she was saying to cut out the excuses, look on page 76. It's part of the section where she talks about being an excuseaholic. At the end of that little gray section, she says to go on an excuse diet. And like, you make your list of your top excuses, and then you have to go through a week without making those excuses. So she said when she tried it, and if her response or excuse response that she came up with was on that top 5 list of excuses, she wasn't allowed to use that excuse and had to just stop and go through with it or come up with some other excuse, I guess. But she said she had never been so productive in all her life.
Wow.
That's almost scary for me. I'm like, I don't even know if I can handle that.
Like,
excuses are sometimes their safety net.
Right.
I know. I'm like, what about the excuse that I'm tired? That's legit. Like, that's a legit
number one.
Always.
Yeah, that's a good. But it is good sometimes, even just recognizing those excuses where, or like I was saying, every time you say should, or like now we'll all notice the excuses we give ourselves. well, it's okay that I eat this junk because I'm having a bad day, or it's okay that I'm skipping this because I'm tired. Tired's probably my number one. As you yawn.
You just made me yawn.
That's awesome. Stephanie, is there anything you want to share?
Yeah, I did have a part highlighted, but you guys kind of already touched on it. Hold on. So in the introduction, because I was so diligent about highlighting the first few pages and then I lost my highlighter. But I liked the part that she said, accept and appreciate yourself for your shortcomings just as much as your strengths because they will forever coexist. And we're actually talking about that because that was kind of what you did as our weekly confidence challenge this week. And I've been copying those and doing them in my Love Yourself bootcamp. And kind of just applying what I've learned in this book and doing it in our group. And I love it. I love seeing just like the positive self-talk that is going on within the group. A lot of changing in mindset just by doing these weekly challenges. So
that's cool. Yeah. I just love the part where she's like, I am, because on the back, not only does she say I am enough, but she says I have enough, I do enough, I am enough. Like, so true. We're all spoiled. We have plenty compared to like third world countries, and we all do plenty. I'm sure of it. I am sure of it. And we are enough. Anyway, that is like a really good thing to remember. So Stephanie, tell me about this I Love Yourself group. Are you guys doing the same confidence challenges that like I'm sharing, or just like ones that you're reading in the book?
Mainly the ones that you're doing. So like I really, really liked the one you posted this week. And so we're doing that one today in the challenge group. So I haven't really read through everyone's responses yet. So I'm going to do that when Cohen goes to bed. But yeah, so like last week yesterday we did one where I had everyone write out 5 affirmations that they could tell themselves every single morning. And so that was cool just to hear like everyone's different affirmations that they'd be saying and things like that. That wasn't one that you had done, but just one that I had come up with that I thought was important.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool. I like how engaged it is helping people like stay, because it's not all about health and fitness. It's just about just becoming a better person overall. And I think it's really going really well.
Yeah, I agree. You know what I found interesting about that confidence challenge was that not one single person commented in public. Like I posted it on my Instagram and not one single person commented with their flaws. Like I just thought that was really interesting because sometimes I think women don't want to like admit the things that they're, you know what I mean? Especially publicly. Yeah. But in like the private groups, like in Team Chic and in my Chic Confidence Club, I don't even know if anyone responded there, but in Team Chic, people responded. I was like, that's just really interesting that I think either people just didn't, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that not that many people actually even responded. And I think my guess is because it's hard to admit publicly what your flaws are.
Yeah. I think the nice thing about my group is that a lot of us are young moms, and so we're having the same struggles.
Yeah.
And so we can really all relate to each other, and we kind of have the same flaws.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier to share when you're like so relatable to the next person.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Anything else you guys want to discuss? We're almost out of time. I want to look through any of my other favorite takeaways.
This is off topic from the book, but is there like a new coach call going on tomorrow or something?
Yes. Yeah, at 8 p.m. tomorrow night. So if you have any new coaches, put them in there. Get them on that. There's also a message thread if you want to add them to that, Stephanie.
Okay.
Okay, so the book for next month, if you guys want to read it, and this one is on Audible, thank heaven, and it is You Are a Badass, which is one of my favorites. Unfortunately, I hate that it swears so much, but it really is good book. So yeah. Get that one on Audible or order it on Amazon. I think it's like $9 on Amazon, and start reading it. And then we'll chat about it on, let me look on the calendar here. It's going to be the 1st of, or it's April 6th.
I think I'm further in that book than I am in the I Am That Girl book. Only because it's on Audible, so I can listen to it.
I know, seriously, like that one, I can guarantee I will have that one read by next time.
Yeah.
On Audible. And I've already read it, like I've read it once before. That one's like one of my favorites. Just, I don't know why. It's very empowering.
Yeah, it is.
So I'm excited about that one. And so April 6th at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You know, same exact time that you hopped on tonight. So just put that in your calendar if you guys want to join us for next month. And I thought we had a great discussion. It inspired me to, it made me want to read the rest, the parts that I missed. So it is a really great book. So I'm glad we dove in. And it was fun to hear some of your guys' thoughts on it. Anyone have any last minute thoughts before we end? All right. Well, thanks you guys for joining, and we'll talk to you guys next month.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.